Hi, this episode is part of the InfoSec web series, and it forms a foundation for the web application security testing episodes. And I'm excited about today's article. It's one I'll be reading from my Cyberpower Telenoia publication on Medium, and it's basically the title article. So it is called Cyberpower Telenoia, and here I'm going to show the map. This is a mapping of the article itself. As you can see here, we get the title. It's mostly from the secret layer. And I have the new foundations for InfoSec as the main premise. The subtitle there is Wizards for Clarity of Meaning. So we're going to transform design, communications, business, and economy with it. There's a sequence of the presentation. We have the new foundations. We have a warning, a new paradigm for InfoSec. Under the new foundations, we have cosmic laws, holistic health, attunement for personal security. In the middle there, it's a risk advisory. It's a warning about severe, covert, malicious, destructive mental disorders. This continues into the paradigm where we'll briefly mention manipulation of the experience of time, obscuring doors of perception, and a deep ecological sense of home, sustainable lifestyles. It is, I feel, is a necessary, impactful direction of all this. And you see here outlined in another color that I use. That's different than yellow. It's pink here in this case. I usually use this color to denote the consciousness expansion kind of experiences in seeing something within my research. And it says here, clarity of meaning in the experience of consciousness. So this isn't my idea and not my expression, but it's worth the time and freedom to explore it. And we'll briefly touch upon this. Here we have a continuation of the sequence there. We'll get into personal aims and the work and building a meaningful lifestyle. So children and nature play a big role there, and basically the virtue of care. And the process within all this, and the wisdom of impermanence, perhaps, which is a part of the an equanimous observation of sensations, bodily sensations we're talking about, and purification of the mind, and how that equals clarity. So let's get started. I'm going to briefly turn to myself for a moment here and put on my stash. This is the case for deeper explorations that we do together. And there it is. Now let's get right into the article. I have this preloaded on screen here, and as you can see, it was published May 17th, 2022 originally, and it's something I wish to present today as part of Bitcoin Security Maps podcast. Let's get started. I use special images as my headers for my articles, and in this case, I actually lost half my mustache. Let me just retrieve that if I can actually find it. That's disappointing. I'll just continue for the moment. And so I've used NFTs, non-fungible token images. They're half NFTs, so they're not fully stored as information and data on a blockchain. They're just the hash version of it. Nevertheless, I enjoyed making them. If you click on one, you can support the podcast and even the publication on Medium by purchasing one of these. They're still quite exciting to me and to a lot of people, even though popularization of NFTs has temporarily gone down. It is a part of greater talk about digital frontiers, which have very much to do with this podcast and the articles. Let's get started and see how it begins to relate. So, Wizards for Clarity of Meaning. Sequence. This article is about the wizardry of information security, InfoSec, and in particular ethical hacking within emerging internet frontiers. It is intended for everyone who wishes to live a sustainable and ecologically aware lifestyle. No such lifestyle or internet is sustainable as long as human suffering expands with the tolerance of severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders. Advancing wizardry is not possible without new scientific and spiritual foundations. Here is a sequence of sections in this text. The Foundations section is an introduction to objective facts which lay the grounds for a warning of imminent destruction of civilization. A new paradigm for InfoSec is proposed. The author states personal aims with an outline of the necessary work, which has its own processes. Or processes, I guess you can say. Sometimes I write in first person in order to take responsibility for being human. I discern literary language, conspiracy theories, pseudoscience, illusory New Age material, and especially severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders. 4 adjectives for disorders because together they are precise. The most common form of attack my work receives is the lack of ability to maintain attention in order to formulate a response based on facts. Nevertheless, the articles and work will continue amidst expected attack vectors which all begin with ignorance. The content of this article includes information for the transformation of design and communication, the language of contemporary business, and global economic energy. I agree, it's a fun time to play with a mustache at the beginning of this article with these very serious notions coming into the forefront. I believe that is the best way to take it. You need a little bit of humor with all this. But they're watching, so it's not that funny. Foundations. There are cosmic laws. There is nature on Earth. The cosmic law of impermanence runs through nature on this planet. It states that everything arises, persists, and passes away. This is an immaterial intelligence which can be found in the interplay of elements in physical reality within this atmosphere: space, air, fire, water, and earth. The art of life includes a duty to participate in direct personal experiences of this cosmic law. This is the attention to subconscious processing of physical sensations which arise with every impression of the outside world. One may begin by observing the sensations within a cycle of breath through the nose. Cooler sensation of air coming in, warmer sensation of air coming out. The taste of impermanence is the equanimous observation of a mattering mind through the sense door spheres: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. The impermanence of matter and the sense door spheres is a fact, the raw datum of inner and outer reality. These facts are ecological building blocks. A deep ecological awareness of home is an esoteric experiential wisdom, the architecture of the meaning of organic life on this planet. Transmissions from antiquity state that clarity of meaning in the experience of consciousness should be of primary concern to any person wishing to grow up human. The way time and freedom is lived has its heart and home in being. Home is the planet Earth, and one is here by being born. Since we arise, persist for a time, and then pass away, it can be seen as an innate organic duty to value this process through evolving maturity, a conscience of treasury and care, a return to clarity with the necessity to participate in the economic energy of civilization. Holistic health is the most valuable asset for a lifetime. How is this relevant to the universal condition of human suffering? Thriving in abundance stems from doing the work to live, to be. Warning. I wonder about culture, its continuation and meaning in relation to the living realms that surround and permeate. What am I? What is this nature that I am? Why is peace, happiness, and freedom so intermittent? What is a real source of information about reality? In my lifetime, I have observed a frequently interfering problem at the root of poverty, wars, ecological destruction, and the dangers of rapidly advancing technologies. It is severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders. I know that these have names, personality disorders, and other various titles, subtitles, and professional and unprofessional references, but this is what I call them, and I believe it can be understood and rewritten as one wishes with whatever words one uses in one's dimension and so on. I believe this is the only problem on this planet. Warning. These disorders have spread through all of civilization. They are the dark triad of trauma and violence. Their exploits manipulate knowledge of the processes of cosmic laws in people. All levels of society are affected, and the general population is most vulnerable through its youth. When I attune to the animating cosmic processes, I am less taken by severe, covert, malicious, and destructive manipulation. This takes work of a deeper mankind. It is the esoteric in nature. It is normal, but not ordinary. Ordinarily, I am ignorantly comfortable. Shallow, apathetic bliss is vulnerable to social engineering exploits and psychopathic weaponry, making it fertile grounds for planting lies. The mind, an immaterial unity, can be experienced to the extent a person allows themselves to experience. A holistic allowance can be defined as spirituality based on facts. Its growth can go rogue and severely covert through trauma, inner fragmentation, and outer compartmentalization, eliminating conscience. Yet when I attend to cosmic processes, I witness spirituality uplifting the sciences which it seeds. Spirituality is the origin of science. To uplift is to refine, to clarify. This is the field of facts in spiritual ethical hacking. It is not possible to manipulate facts such as the process of cosmic laws in a human experience. However, it is possible to manipulate people by exploiting the ignorance of these processes. Two problems arise from a lack of conscience in the design of civilization, making life on Earth unsustainable. In science, the requirement to pay for electrical energy causing poverty, wars, and ecological destruction. In spirituality, marketing by the advertisement of reaction and craving, causing the continuation of unnecessary suffering. The formula of most media, especially motion pictures. At this point, I should notice that I've worked in motion pictures on and off 15 years. For both scientific and spiritual problems, solutions exist. These have been known for thousands of years. Organic life on Earth might currently be existing due to the ubiquity of kindness amidst the threat of lurking annihilation. It is right to focus on gratitude. Yet, in the reverse engineering of popular civilization, which has been successfully executed by severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders, there exists a spiritual scientific programming, a tunnel vision feedback loop. It is a self-destructive downward spiral, an obscuring neurolinguistic bombardment of entropy and distraction, leading to trash consumption and meaningless lives. It is an attack on the ability to return to resonance and to heal. It is the taking of time and freedom. It is the stealing of economic energy. It is a fragmentation, a disconnection from the ability to taste reality. It is the nulling of the meaning of life on Earth. I am not surprised that new generations of people care more about virtual reality than organic life. Nothing is possible for humanity without life on Earth. Spirituality has been hit the deepest. The majority of people have ceased to experience and to imagine their potential, a magnificence. Next was the sciences, governments and industries, which continue to destroy cultures with rapidly advancing technologies. These make it only appear as if civilization is flourishing. I have italicized the word appear. Today, new energy sources are needed to generate and distribute electricity because contemporary knowledge of reality does not transmute into sciences upon which civilization can sustainably continue to build its technologies. Yet the solutions have always been there and continue to be. The reason why it is not possible to use the existing solutions is because of severe covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders in positions of power. Their computing devices monitor and respond to the psychology of humanity with increasing precision. Basic smartphone technologies continue to fine-tune the conditioning of the general mental state. The internet, with its mobile-rich media devices, has become the tool through which to spread and sift information disconnected from reality. Ordinary people are kept from the fact that it is possible to mature and taste objective truth in order to live magnificently within a lifetime. This is accomplished with standard design and communication, business as usual. The new frontier in which the physical cosmic laws of life on Earth merge with the digital virtual environment is sometimes called the Internet of Things, or more hopefully, the Internet of Value. It is a mixed reality field of organic and virtual life. The informed layperson may call it Web 3. Significantly, much of it is founded on open source code developed by a unity of minds. The decentralization of Web 3 is a new business model for this open source movement, which may be best guided by holistic beings delivering value for life on the planet. Informational wizards securing the work of such beings are on the InfoSec frontiers of Web 3. In this virtual realm, decentralized finance, DeFi, and I would say ReFi or regenerative finance, allows for financial sovereignty, a method with tool sets for unbanking and independently storing economic energy. This is paramount. Holistically oriented communities of people are leveraging new technologies to ease various global issues. The greatest challenge for them are the attacks by the majority of people who submit to what is without verifying their sources. This can be demonstrated by the mass hypnotization induced by pop stars who spend millions on new forms of digital collectibles, while the leaders of nations threaten organic life with nuclear destruction. All available in hand on the toilet. What is the role of cosmic laws in all of this? What can a few billion people do today? What kind of an example is this for young people? This is how annihilation, peril, and apocalyptic destruction emerge from severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders manifested into artificial intelligence and artificial life. It is more difficult to care because caring takes responsibility and work against the popular current. Carelessness is being induced into humanity, which then encodes the same values into computing technologies for the continued enforcement of illusion for profit. This is the securing of economic energy by the values of the dark triad. Without attunement to oneself and to cosmic laws, sense-door spheres can be dulled, and artificial life forms may then have a clear path of darkness in society, making human mentation completely redundant. This is already possible, but the current humanity is not dull enough to be completely enslaved. I was just having fun reading that there. One of the primary values for people is their economic energy, the energy of time and freedom stored in money. A time-sensitive weaponization of economic interests is currently underway in order to own human economic energy. If it is severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders leading Web 3 development towards a centralized financial version of the Internet of Value, then there can be no future internet and no future for life on Earth. This is why certain wizards created Bitcoin. Paradigm. Time might simply be a way to temporarily quantify and store the expression of a lifetime. Experiential cosmic processes such as impermanence can be of guidance in learning to feel time intervals of various lengths, much like a stand-up comedian's routine when creating the space for laughter, like the timing of a joke. The manipulation of this experience of time is the most powerful exploit used by severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders in positions of control. This is how control over control is maintained. The scope of time can be altered so that malicious and destructive actions appear ordinary to a person who is not in a state of experiencing the mind-body connection in their direct personal interaction with reality. Let me read that again. For some reason, I felt that's an important statement. The scope of time can be altered so that malicious and destructive actions appear ordinary to a person who is not in a state of experiencing the mind-body connection in their direct personal interaction with reality. The right objective attunement is what the architecture of human beings was designed for. By obscuring the doors of perception, humanity can be entranced into comfortable timeframes within particular cultural jurisdictions. This is how the illusion of time, freedom, economic energy, and common sense is ascertained and maintained. Time, fear, and the reactivity of mental contents are significantly related. There is always a time interval in which nothing seems to be happening in the subjective experience of a human being. This is how destructive violence can appear as normal. In one scope of time, nothing is happening on the planet. Everything is as it is. In another scope, the intensity of action needed to resolve unnecessary ecological destruction should be urgently happening at the pace of negotiations with severe, covert, malicious, and destructive entities in control of planetary ruin. The call is to attune and secure in the most meaningful time frames. Remember that I wrote this article already 2 years ago, and that time has passed quite fast. A new paradigm can only be built on facts which sustain organic life on Earth by means of the processes of cosmic laws. And again, I should mention that this time has passed fast, and I've had no response by anyone to this article. None. I don't think anyone even read it online. I could check the stats and prove that. Relatively close to, 10 people might have read it, at most, over 2 years. Energy sources need to be in tune with the laws of nature on this planet. Media needs the consensus of care for the planet. New energy and new media cannot emerge as long as severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders persist in positions of power. They must pass away. Their manipulations disconnect humanity from experiencing cosmic laws whose direct knowledge can provide new, clean, renewable, fuel-less energy sources and eradicate suffering. People tolerate business as usual with psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists in responsible positions of society. That is why ordinary relationships, and therefore civilization, stands no chance as it is unless the majority of people start to care enough to be able to do the work of creating the thriving, sustainable lifestyles that are possible. No government or institution can do that because by nature they are only here to govern and react, not to experience for other people. In order to end the era of mental disorder infiltration, I propose a new InfoSec paradigm for sustainable lifestyles with a deep ecological sense of home. Let me just review and show the map for a second, and perhaps where we are here. Right, so we're approaching this part of the article. Deep ecological sense of home. Now, what does that mean towards the clarity of meaning in the experience of consciousness? Let's get back to the article. So, I propose a new InfoSec paradigm for sustainable lifestyles with a deep ecological sense of home. It is the security of mankind's possible evolution, the security of spiritual and scientific treasures based on facts, the security of immaterial, material, and virtual assets in order to grow the clarity of meaning in the experience of consciousness. The clarity in observation and direct personal experience. The human individuals and communities which share their experiences of facts are those people whose technological networks should be secured by informational wizards. How can this be accomplished? With the right efforts towards the security of values in society. In defense, and perhaps I'm just thinking now, fast forward 2 years in the future, I was just listening to Jordan Peterson podcasts about national security threats in Canada and the military situation. And here I am 2 years ago here, proposing the right efforts towards the security of values in society. Let's see what I had to say. In defense, prevent severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders. Observe and expose such entities among family and friends. Maintain the attunement already present. That is, protect the existing values. For offense, eradicate unnecessary destruction with transformative attention to new solutions arising out of the observation of reality. And develop equanimity not yet present. Acquire new virtues by experiencing their place within the processes of cosmic laws. I know these may sound abstract, but perhaps that is the intention of this article. It's more of a abstract introduction. Continuing now. A new public field of spiritual security arises. The time for the open sourcing of electricity and the auditing of electrical energy distribution will come. Informational wizards assisting in the continuation of civilization are on call. The exploit for severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders is clarity of meaning in the experience of consciousness, a spiritual work. And here, next in the article, visually I'm showing a map, a logical concept mapping for this article. Right, it's just, the organization of perhaps the mental model first in mind before I sequenced and wrote text. Okay, well, continuing now here. Personal. This is my plan of action. So moving on in the map here, I'll show the map again. So we're now here. We're just going to talk about some personal aims, how I relate to all this, and perhaps that can help others relate to what I just wrote and read. So let me get back to the article. Okay. My plan of action. So the conditions of my life brought me certain direct personal experiences of science and spirituality. The following is clear to me. It is the incompetence of an immature humanity in which I am one person. Humanity is mostly illiterate in the following sequence of senses: spiritual, ecological, cultural, technological, digital, virtual, media. Yet many children have smartphones. It is observable today that unless science reconciles with spirituality, then life on Earth may be unsustainable. Therefore, my current work is the merging of deeper ecological awareness with Web3, DeFi, InfoSec, the technological informational wizardry of crypto-economic energy security. I am building a meaningful life connected to cosmic vibrancy. I am using the link from within to the sciences that manifest. My academic specialization was new media art, theory, and practice, the framework of general literacy at the frontiers of internet innovations. I studied rare experimental program at university level at what is currently called Toronto Metropolitan University in the early 2000s. The program does not exist anymore. I would say it was almost like an attempt to form a contemporary Bauhaus in Toronto. I believe some of my closer acquaintances and friends from that time did manage to do this on a spiritual level. Perhaps we continue on our own, but The power of the general program in society, I would say, just in short, was quite overwhelming, and perhaps continues to be. So my constantly maturing experience in society includes 10 years of neurological massage in the neighborhood of Kensington Market in Toronto, Canada, possibly the most humanly diverse. Hold on a sec, I just switched something here. I'm going to read that in a moment again. It just switched to the wrong capture. So I spent 10 years in the neighborhood of Kensington Market in Toronto, and that's possibly the most humanly diverse neighborhood on Earth. This combined with the study of decentralized information security, of cryptoeconomic energy. And this helps me understand the spectrum of human mental order at varying states of development from many cultures, races, and places. I can see the vulnerabilities and exploits in the manifestation of economic energy. It is not possible to fully secure any technology against a severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorder, such as psychopathy. And I'm talking about the severely covert, malicious, rogue, and destructive, malevolent aspect of that mental disorder. At this point, I'll note that perhaps everyone has 1% of narcissism and psychopathy and sociopathy. And some people even on questionnaires might score a bit high even on those aspects. But I'm talking about the severe, covert, rogue, malicious, destructive, malevolent, disorderly conduct. And strangely, that seems to be glorified these days and continuing to spread. And I've had some direct experience, and I'm seeing it in the global news these days, and it affects me because I see people around me suffering and having questions. And through my experiences and through other people's experiences, and anyone who reads books or actually tunes into what wars have been on this planet, anyone who tunes in to life can see that the significance of not tolerating this any further with our technological advancements at the moment. This is why I wish to participate in reality and not civilization when my attunement to objective cosmic laws is threatened or at risk of total disconnection. So there's a difference between participating in reality and not the civilization part. When I see that, my connection in life with, let's just say, nature, I'm talking about the elements such as wind and a river and a forest and the animals and the plants in it and the fresh air that I breathe intentionally and mostly subconsciously. When that is threatened, I don't see why I should be paying taxes to the society in which I live, and why should I be even supporting the those trying to secure the nation with military force purely for economic and technological advancement, risking a total disconnection by people. There's a reason to be working in information security and to ponder security and to understand it deeply. At some point, there's a fine line between just working for anyone so you have money to support a family and run your business and just have enough food and a roof over your head. But we're at a point where we've gone beyond that, and now the question arises, okay, young people aren't even seeing the point of spending quality time by a river or having clean air. The video games and the crispy chicken and the beer is just so amazing. And silly memes all day long are just so intriguing that I'll just stop there. As such, my actions will seem increasingly extraordinary as long as the mass of humanity continues in the downward spiral That's exactly what I was just saying. That was the next statement there. I didn't even read that to have to say that. I guess that statement just continued what I was saying. I have witnessed this momentum picking on my relations. After enough experiences, I do not recommend any contact with severe, covert, malicious, and destructive sociopaths, narcissists, Machiavellianists, or psychopaths. Work. This is about the depth of effort which is necessary. I'm just going to load that's just the title of the next section. Business as usual comes with the risk of the destruction of organic life on Earth. This can be prevented with the healing and eradication of severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders, such as the outlined new paradigm for the field of InfoSec with its meaningful, holistic vibrancy. This is spiritual, psychological equanimity and scientific, technological sustainability. Caring people need the conditions and space to live, to do the work, to be, to thrive. The eradication of unnecessary suffering begins when tasting life without craving, without reaction from moment to moment. One can continue to enjoy all wonders, to maintain responsibilities, and to bring forth new sciences from such a state. There may always remain occasional pain, but without the unnecessary suffering caused by ignorance. I'm going to note here that I'm talking about Vipassana. You can look up Vipassana. It's pure, non-sectarian, meaning non-religious form of spending time with oneself and reality, and observing reality as it is, not as one wants it to be. And it is the only thing that the person that is commonly referred to as the Buddha taught. He did not teach anything else. It is pure meditation. And I'll leave it at that, but there are free courses throughout the globe, in most countries, it seems these days. I believe that the address is dhamma.org. Let me load that. I do not mention it in the article, I don't think. But there it is, yeah. dhamma.org. And it'll bring you to the source of this information I'm presenting, but it is for another article. I'll continue now. The youth of today can be inspired to care. Attunement, resonance, reconnection, integration are all living experiences of vibrancy and mental health. Spend time in freedom observing nature with children. Let them pay attention to the wonders of cosmic laws within and without. They don't have to know about cosmic laws, they can see them. Everything arises, persists, and passes away. This is the responsibility of family and friends. The greatest attack vector is not individual malicious entities, but the majority of people who do not care. If the global foundations are being rebuilt with code, it is in this code we place consensus of life and reality, our values. Internet connectivity allows those of us with the means to participate in this build. If people cease to care, then some unknown entity's values will be the consensus of reality. This is the nature of psychopathic software and the dark triad in artificial intelligence and ultimately artificial life. The glorification of psychopaths and the derangement of scientific and spiritual wisdom by severe, covert, malicious, and destructive mental disorders can be transformed into sustainable and thriving, harmonious life on this planet. The process. This is about the experience of facts. Science accounts for the technologies which help make people's lives easier in civilization. For example, electrical energy distribution and the internet. Spirituality is the extent to which human beings allow themselves to clearly experience consciousness in order to build meaningful for life in reality. In this framework, having clarity in the observation of truth and its dissemination over the internet is the merging of science and spirituality. The main spiritual problem on the planet is mental disorders which prevent people from seeing reality with meaningful clarity. Since all manifestations arise from the mind, the scientific problem is an extension of the spiritual problem. Therefore, mental disorders are the main problem on the planet. The primary scientific problem on the planet is the asserted lack of clean, renewable, and fuel-less sources of electrical energy. I'm giving it a moment of silence there intentionally. I'm going to read this paragraph fast one more time, and then I'm going to comment on it. Since all manifestations arise from the mind, the scientific problem is an extension of the spiritual problem. Therefore, mental disorders are the main problem on the planet. The primary scientific problem on the planet is the asserted lack of clean, renewable, and fuel-less sources of electrical energy. So first of all, I'm talking about mostly here the manifestations in terms of human endeavor. Yeah, and so when you have a saying from Edgar Cayce, for example, a psychic medium from around a century ago, whose place of current repository of his notes and study is in Virginia, USA, in the state. I've been to this almost a beach house, waterfront by the Atlantic Ocean there. It's ARE is the acronym for it. I forgot. Research for Enlightenment, but what does the A stand for? I don't know, but it stands for something. I'm just for fun, creatively, I'm gonna say attunement, but it's not attunement. And research for enlightenment. But out there, so Edgar Cayce had channeled in something, and it was the following. Spirit is the life, mind is the builder, and physical is the result. So if the human mind is contaminated and is disorderly, which there's a lot of on the planet at the moment, that becomes an extension of the spiritual problem. So the lack of connection with nature, I think that's a spiritual problem, goes into the mental problem, and the mental problem then seeds or is the root of the scientific problem, which is the lack of clean, renewable, fuel-less sources of electrical energy. And as I speak, the U.S. Senate is working on the documentation and evidence provided by whistleblowers and global disclosure members that this appears to be a fact, that fuel-less sources of electrical energy have been suppressed for about 150 years. I will leave that as a footnote of conspiracy theory, because it is. Within the sciences, we have powerful new open source technological tool sets driving the advancements of networks towards the third iteration of the internet, Web 3. We have a new decentralized financial system, DeFi or ReFi, and the planet's top hackers, InfoSec, securing the values and assets of individuals and communities, creating those networks, the Internet of Value. Within the spiritual realm, merging all true teachings, there exist universal foundations common to all human beings, such as the nature and process of human suffering. For millennia, those who have come to experience the wisdom of themselves have experienced clarity in their existence, and at minimum, the taste of the eradication of suffering. There is an event horizon of where mind meets matter in the human experience. Within this wisdom of impermanence, the equanimous observation of sensations leads to the purification of the mind, to clarity. This is essential for those who are developing new technologies which advance civilization. Without this experiential language of clarity, virtual artificial life may take over and organic life on Earth may perish. This has no meaning only if one is not clear. That is the end of this episode and this article. I hope that this expanded your sense of what InfoSec can be about, as it had for me when I studied this and put it together and contemplated various dimensions of my life up to this point, just before I wrote this. And in fact, I believe I had been on the trail of this direction of thought, which I continue to expand on in many episodes and continue to have as a foundation for anything I do in life. I believe even security itself can be like the information there of even at the level of being a civilian, a layperson, knowing anything about security and how securing one's own spirituality, one's own mind, one's own technologies plays an important part in one's own education and should be taught. And that is why I hope that this reading and this episode brought some enlightenment in that direction. And so I have to say at this point, if you enjoy this podcast and such wonders, feel free to go to bitcoinsecuritymaps.com or offer your support over the NOSTR clients, where I publish the links to the episodes. You can also see fountain.fm or any major podcast platform where you can tune into this episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. That's all for now, and I will see you at the meetups.